guys, Yuki back with Seduce Me. Sorry I haven't been on in a few weeks. I got so I had like an awful, I think it was like an allergy, or like a cold or something, but like I basically lost my voice for like the last week. I just recovered like recently, and I said to hop back into Seduce Me. So yeah. As Matthew backed into the far wall, he stood still, tossing knife upon knife at the incoming devil at his floor.
Gotcha, you knife-throwing circus freak!
I saw Smart grow on Matthew's face before he hopped up and flipped over Malix. The devil skidded to a stop, barely bumping against the brick wall. Matthew, however, didn't give Malix a chance to turn before shooting multiple knives into Malix's back. Brutal.
Ah!
Bye-bye, Malix.
Wow. Love the sass there, Matthew. Matthew tossed the knife into the air and caught it before chucking it at the back of Malix's head. The knife sadly didn't get to meet its target, as Malix ducked out of the way and turned to face Matthew with a face of pure rage.
You little shit! You think you're all that?
Matthew brought out another knife and tossed it up and down and changed his cool yet almost playful expression.
Little known fact, I just like having fun.
That's a load of bull, Matthew. You won't even fight me in your demon form. Why? Are you afraid I'll kill you as the demon scum you really are?
Crossed the line. Also, I'm curious about this, thing on his knife, like engraved thing. Is it just decoration or just human form? I didn't understand. However, Matthew broke my thoughts from trying to figure that out.
Hey, mind closing your eyes for me?
Huh?
What are you babbling about now?
Before I could answer, the tension suddenly went from warm to almost ice cold. Then, at that moment, something in the air changed. The air instantly went from frantic to still and airy. What could have been described in tone as a color red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and blue as everything began to blend together all at once.
You asked for it, Malix! Now you're gonna get it!
My eyes never strayed from Matthew's face, however, even as it changed. His eyes began to glow a bright golden color as dark blue circles formed underneath Matthew's bare feet. Oh, we actually get to see his form, like, first? I stared as Matthew's skin began to morph and shift, changing from human to something else. For some reason, I was both scared and incredibly intrigued to see this new form. Oh no, I didn't. Before I was allowed to see Matthew's new form, however, a pair of hands quickly covered my eyes. Instinctively, I reached up and gripped them, trying to pull them off. A voice stopped me.
It's me. Don't look.
I listened carefully and let the last two words linger in my mind. Don't look. Why? Why was this being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me that to obey Damien's command. I suddenly heard gunshots, making me tense up. But then I heard the sound of multiple stabs, followed by Malix's screams of pain. Stabbing and splashing sounds of blood and flesh grew more frantic and in number. How many knives was Matthew using? Maybe it was better that I wasn't able to see.
Matthew, enough!
Yeah. Almost instantly after James's command, the sound stopped. The only thing anyone could hear then was the dripping of blood.
I guess I went a little overboard, huh?
Yeah?
Malix is definitely dead, but you've lost your glamour spell.
Glamour spell? What did he mean? Why did Matthew sound so different? Why was this being hidden from me?
It's a spell that makes us look human.
I froze. Look human? They didn't have human forms after all? What did they look like?
Like demons.
As As if Eric knew what Damien was talking about, Eric cleared his throat and spoke up, followed by the sound of a cork popping out of a bottle.
Well, not for much longer, Princess. Here, Matthew.
Huh.
Oh, hey, you found my potion. Thanks.
I could hear the small clinking of glass being passed before hearing Matthew guzzle down a liquid of some sort. The feel of the air around me gently began to warm back up, insinuating that everything had been returned to normal. Finally, Damien moved his hands from my eyes, allowing me to see around me once again. The devils, including Eris, had fled. On top of Malix's body was a dirty sheet that was quickly turning red from blood. The wall behind it was painted in red and blood, still dripping onto the floor and onto the blanket. Ooh. The blanket looked like it was covering a mound of dirt instead of a body. More like chunks of meat. Oh god, I just grossed myself out. The boys, however, had gathered around me, all of them, including Matthew, looking like nothing had happened. What just... I tried to speak, but everything zipped around in my head at the whole event, and I felt like speaking wasn't possible.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
I could only nod. What happened boggled my mind to the point of disbelief. I was second-guessing everything, lost in a sea of what, and how, and when. As we walked out of the warehouse, I looked to Matthew for some form of sign that I wasn't dreaming. Matthew rubbed the back of his neck, walking forward as if to get away from what had happened. It was over. Malix was gone, and the boys were finally safe. A wave of relief ran through my body at the thought of never having to deal with that group again. At the same time, a pang of realization hit the back of my mind. The boys were only going to stay until after Malix was defeated. That was our deal. As we approached home, I could feel something heavy weigh down on my heart. It was late, but the boys led me inside and turned on the lights in the lobby.
Finally, we can relax.
It will be good to have some rest without devils breathing down our necks.
I'm just tired. Can I hit the hay early?
I think some sleep would be good for all of us.
I looked to Damien, knowing he could read my mind, and frowned. I didn't want him to know about my thoughts on the situation. Yeah, bed sounds good. I wanted to just end tonight. Too much had happened, and I felt dizzy just trying to figure it out. However, Damien spoke up, stopping all of us from moving.
Should we be gone in the morning?
The air became still with tension. The realization of the situation hit the boys like a wave, forcing them to turn to me in curiosity. They had remembered their deal, and were now awaiting me to decide their fate. I gulped, face to face with the reality of the situation. The boys were leaving it up to me. They looked like they were willing to accept whatever I had demanded. It was only fair, though, after all that had happened. I looked to Matthew, feeling my heart flutter in my chest. I didn't want him to leave, but would he ask to stay? I hoped that he would say no and ask me to stay longer. As if he knew what I wanted, Matthew moved and stepped to me, taking my hands in his. He gently smiled at me and spoke.
I want you to know that you've been really generous to us, and I want to thank you for letting us stay here. But is it okay if we stay a little longer?
My heart skipped while a large blush ran through my cheeks. The boys stared at Matthew wide-eyed, but didn't dare to speak out. Matthew stepped back to give me space, returning to where he was. I moved my gaze across each boy, trying to make a decision. If they left in the morning, I would never see them again, and my life could return to normal. If I did decide to let them go, that would have been the best. No goodbyes, no delays. But did I want to? They had done so much for me in such a small amount of time. Let them stay. I wanted them to stay. I want him to stay. I merely smiled, staring at the man I had to come to grow feelings for, before speaking at last. I would love it if you all could stay. The boys cheered tiredly, but nonetheless enthusiastically. I giggled at the sight. It was cute to see everyone so excited, despite the tiredness that ran equally through their bodies. Today was a rough day. My home is your home, as long as you can still help with chores. The boys nodded in unison, agreeing to the terms I had set for them. Despite the good situation, I felt myself slowly slipping into unconsciousness. However, James quickly clapped his hands together, getting everyone's attention and waking me up, making sure I didn't pass out on the floor.
All right, everyone. We're all very tired, so let's head to bed, shall we?
Oh! Yeah, sleep is actually a thing. Right.
We've had a very long day, but it will be good to just relax tonight and tomorrow.
Sleep sounds really good right now.
Yeah, man.
I watched a happy smile grow on Matthew's lips. He shared my excitement, knowing that we would be together longer. Who knew how long we would stay together? All I cared about was that I would be with him. The others quickly left to finally rest, leaving me and Matthew alone at last. My heart fluttered a bit as Matthew practically skipped closer to me in excitement. It was really cute to see him that way, so I didn't do anything but smile. That is adorable.
Thank you so much for letting us stay.
You're welcome, Matthew. I'm happy to have you stay here. I watched his smile brighten a bit before he cleared his throat and chuckled a bit. I didn't know if it was the tiredness or my growing attachment to him, but I felt myself sway a bit on my feet. However, Matthew's face made it clear that he wanted to say something else, making me forget that my bed was also calling for me.
Listen, about what happened at the warehouse.
No, it's fine. You did what you had to do. I understand. I had accepted everything that happened and knew that Matthew had to do what he had to do. He was real, and he was someone I didn't want to be without, even if that meant nodding against my curiosity. Besides, I was too tired to explore that memory further. Matthew nodded before holding out a hand to me.
Come on then, let's get you to bed.
I nodded before Matthew gently lifted me up in his arms like a bride and carried me to my room. I didn't want to leave his arms, leaning my head against Matthew's chest. But eventually, I was slowly lowered to my bed and covered with my bed covers. I was still in my school clothes, but I was too tired to strip or care. I looked to Matthew, fighting a yawn from escaping me as he gently ran a hand over my hair.
Have a good night, okay? I'll make breakfast again in the morning.
I nodded with a tired smile before watching him slowly stand and leave my room, closing the door. A wave of happiness washed over me as I laid in bed. I made a good choice. Sure, it would be hard, but I could tell that I would be able to manage it. Help around the house and being with a man whom I was slowly starting to fall for would be worth it. I slowly felt exhaustion take over. I let sleep consume me as I drifted into the darkness in my mind. Everything was peaceful. I was happy.
You are an interesting creature.
I opened my eyes to see a woman staring down at me with a very sly smirk on her face. I opened my mouth to scream in fright, but a hand quickly covered my mouth.
No screaming now. Too early, silly girl.
I could only stare up at the woman above me. I still felt weak, not having the strength to move and fight her off. What was going on, and why was she here?
Why do the boys like you? You're unique, yes, but that can't be all that you have going for you.
Rage began to consume my core again. This woman, whoever she was making me mad. She must have known as she let another smirk grow onto her face.
Ooh, you're feisty. That could be why.
Before I could bite her hand in anger, she removed her hand from my lips, standing up and staring down at me from her place next to my bed. I quickly sat up and glared daggers at the intruder. She was very beautiful, but I felt more anger than amazement. Who the hell are you, and why are you in my room? The woman began to laugh, making the rage inside me increase. I wanted to punch her, but I waited for her answer.
How silly of me. I forgot that we demons are not well known of in your world. You can call me Diana, little human.
Diana? Demon? You're a demon?
I am, but I'm much more than just an average demon.
What do you mean?
Silly girl. I'm a succubus.
I stared at Diana in shock. A succubus? First incubi, now a succubus? Great, I have now met both genders of sex demons. Diana crossed her arms under her bosom and looked at my body.
Well, you are pretty, but you seem very reckless. Too reckless.
I moved out and stood from the bed, still glaring at Diana. Why are you here?
Oh, I just wanted to see who my competition was.
Competition?
For the boys, of course. They don't belong here, and yet here they remain. I want to know why, and remedy this little issue.
This girl was seriously pissing me off. Issue? What issue? They want to stay here so they can.
Silly, uneducated human. You don't understand the important roles these boys play in the abyssal planes. You keeping them here is practically imprisonment.
You have about 10 seconds to leave.
Is that a threat? How cute. What are you going to do? Kill me?
And if I do?
You barely have the strength to stand, little human. I can rip the rest of your energy out and knock you into a coma. You'll never be able to wake up again.
Touch me and I'll...
Enjoy every minute of it.
I felt my body freeze and heat up to an almost painful haze. My mind began to feel fuzzy as Diana stepped up to me and caressed my cheek.
Now, you're going to listen to everything I say without any questions. Got it?
I nodded.
Good. I plan to bring the boys back to the abyssal planes. Why? So that I can take my place as queen of their realm. They have no reason to be here in this silly little world, so I'm going to make sure they return home. Okay, Pumpkin?
I nodded but growled. My rage couldn't be concealed despite the hold I was under.
Call me evil all you want, dearie. I'm not evil. You're just in my way.
I felt Diana lean into my ear and whisper, making me unconsciously shiver in both pleasure and annoyance.
Now, be a good little human and go to bed. I'll make sure they're gone before you get home tomorrow from school, so make sure to say goodbye in the morning.
I felt my body move on its own to lay in bed and cover itself with my bed sheets. I glared at Diana the entire way down. Diana laughed at my futility. I'll get you.
Oh, please do.
All of a sudden, her voice deepened and became cold and demonic, sending a violent, scared shiver down my spine. Her red eyes practically illuminated in the darkness of my room as she glared at me.
Give me a reason to make your life a living hell.
I gritted my teeth, trying to fight back against the hold on me. She couldn't have been that tough. She needed energy to survive, right? I was sure she couldn't have had enough to hold me down forever. Diana then laughed and returned to normal.
Oh, and make sure you don't tell the boys I was here. I want my visit to be a surprise.
I felt the hold on me disappear, allowing me to sit up and practically growl at Diana in rage. What's stopping me?
And you must not care about your friends and family as much as you care for the boys.
I stopped and stared. What did she mean by that? Was that a threat to my family? Diana smirked at me, knowing the confusion behind my eyes.
Let's just say that if you tell the boys about me, I'll make sure that no one will care for you, and you'll be all alone in this little house until the day you die.
I could feel fear creeping into me. Alone? Could she do that? The word demon reverberated in my head, reminding me that I was facing off against something supernatural. A human with a shield versus a devil was one thing. A human on our own versus a demon was another.
Have a good night.
And with that, Diana sank into the floor through a magical purple pentagram, which disappeared as her head vanished into the floor. Looks like, this is the edited version. Like, I can tell that a lot of editing has gone into this, like, fixing, like, certain sentence structures. Especially this one, which kind of was repetitive before. I couldn't believe it. I had one problem, and now I had another. Instead of a crazy psycho devil who wanted to kill me and the boys, I had a succubus wanting to ruin my life and take the boys away. Could my life get any worse? No, I wasn't going to let her win. She was not as powerful as she looks. I know it. I had to mentally confirm it. She wasn't going to win. The boys wanted to stay with me. I let out a sigh before closing my eyes, affirming my plan of action. No matter what she was going to do, I was going to beat her. Eventually, the morning arrived and the sun screamed at me to get up. Surprisingly, I woke up before my alarm once again, which was nice. I stretched out and quickly got dressed, ready for school. She expects me to say goodbye to the boys. I will say good morning and will see them when I come back. No way I'm going to say goodbye. I scooped up my bag and headed downstairs to the dining room, seeing the boys already eating a delicious selection of food. The smell made my stomach growl wildly at the sight of food, drew me to walk further into the room.
Good morning, miss. Did you sleep well?
Before I could lie, hiding the incident in the back of my mind, Damien furrowed his eyebrows and stopped eating.
She's here.
The boys looked to Damien in confusion, while I cursed his ability silently in my mouth.
Damien, what's up with you? Of course she's here. She kinda owns the house.
Damien looked to me, wanting me to explain for him. However, the threats that Diana gave me last night warned me to keep my mouth shut. I shook my head at Damien, not wanting to talk about it. Damien sighed and looked to James. James tilted his head and furrowed his brows at Damien before looking to me.
Does anyone else live in this house?
No, just us.
Then who is Diana?
My heart stopped. Damien was still able to read my mind. I couldn't help but glare at him, but he continued to press a hard tell-the-truth gaze at me. I sighed. Damien was going to press the issue, so I had no choice but to speak. A girl named Diana came by last night.
Diana? Is she important?
Did she try to hurt you?
She's a succubus. The single word made the boys stop and stare at me. I looked to each boy, unsure of what was going through their minds. Should I have avoided it?
So, she's come to try and bring us back.
She must really be desperate.
Well, what should we do now?
Nothing. She'll give up eventually.
Will she?
The boys continued to look at me as if I knew the answer to that question. Damn it, Damien! She said that if I told you, she'd make my life a living hell. She can't possibly do that, right? She's not a devil.
No, she isn't. However, she is a very powerful demon.
She's a master of mind manipulation and has been trained in illusion. Unlike other demons who use strength to get power, she uses her charisma.
She has the power to make armies bow to her and obey her every whim. That's why she's so obsessed with us.
What? What do you mean?
Well, she sorta has family ties to us. She was promised to marry one of us in exchange for more power.
She's just some whacked-up hussy who doesn't know how to close her legs. She's not a real threat.
Oh, really? I feel insulted.
The boys and I looked around the room, wondering where the voice came from. I felt cold sweat run down the back of my neck in fear, remembering what kind of power she had. At last, we saw Diana by the entrance of the kitchen, juggling a single red apple in her hand as she leaned against the archway. The boys quickly surrounded me, glaring at the intruder.
So, you took up a human name as well.
Beautiful name, isn't it? Well, for a human name, anyway.
What the hell do you want?
To bring you back, of course. However, you weren't supposed to know that I was coming. I completely forgot about that little mind-reading ability. My mistake.
Diana pushed off the archway and walked towards us, making the boys step closer to me in a protective circle. Diana laughed.
My. What has the world come to? A group of demons protecting a human girl? I'll tell you right now, she's not that pretty. And from what I can tell, she's still a virgin.
My face grew red in complete anger and embarrassment. How dare she? I don't know. I stepped up, gently pushing the boys away to be face to face with Diana. I was furious as she was able to feel my wrath. You are in my house. You are an intruder. You have no power here.
Oh, really? Do I have to remind you of the power I have, dear?
Oh. With the snap of her fingers, my mind suddenly locked up and I felt blank. I could see the world around me, but I lost control of my body. The boys quickly reformed around me, with James gripping onto Diana's wrist in anger.
You will leave this instant.
Or what? You'll kill me? I completely dare you to.
Let me do it. I could use the workout.
Don't.
The boys looked to Damien while Diana smirked at my blank state. I wanted to fight this hole, but her power held me down.
And why not?
She wants us to kill her. If she dies, then civil war starts in the demon world.
Very good, sweetie.
What happens in the demon world doesn't concern us anymore. We live here now.
The demons will come to the human world and hunt us down before attacking each other.
The demons come to the human world? All because of her?
You sneaky bitch.
Then I snapped Diana's fingers. I was released from her hold, almost buckling into my knees.
Well, will you all change your minds? I assure you, it's for the greater good.
I expected the boys to say no. What I heard was complete silence. None of the boys replied to Diana, which made me both nervous and fearful as to why. Diana leaned her head back a bit, surprised for a different reason.
No. Well, I see.
Was silence truly them saying no to her? I looked around at the boys and saw the disobedience in their eyes, giving me my answer. I felt my heart flutter, especially when my eyes landed on Matthew. He kept close to me, glaring daggers into Diana. I could feel that he was completely adamant in his choice to stay. I didn't know what. But I was incredibly happy to know he wanted to stay. Diana sighed and pressed a finger to her temple, rubbing it gently.
Either all of you are playing a very convincing hard-to-get game, or you all must be out of your minds.
Diana then looked to me, locking her gaze with mine as if to read me. I could tell she wanted me to do something, but the boys would stop her, so the stare was her only available action. After a small moment of silence, Diana licked her lips before breaking the gaze battle and smiling to the boys around me.
Very well. I guess I'll take my leave now.
What? Her leave? Was she serious? The boys around me straightened up and grew confused looks on their faces as Diana stepped back and away from us with a small pout, flaunting her cleavage. With another word, a deep purple pentagram appeared under her feet and Diana's body slowly sank into the floor. As her head vanished into the floor, the pentagram vanished. At once, the boys relaxed and slowly began to return to their spots at the table, each in deep thought.
She'll be back, but she won't kill us. She needs us alive.
Whatever. We'll just keep saying no. She can't force us to come back.
She can't do anything but annoy us. Eventually she'll give up.
That's the hope anyway.
Hopefully. Matthew walked over to me and held my hand gently, looking at me with a smile.
Everything will be okay. Promise.
I nodded, feeling that he was telling the truth, or at least a hopeful and comforting thought, and smiled back. Matthew gently leaned close to me and kissed my cheek. How were making me blush and forget what I was thinking about. That is so cute. The sound of a collective chuckles and playful snickers whispered through the air, making me blush even more, but the laughter stopped as Sam let out an oof after a fluffy object collided with his face. I looked up to see Matthew was glaring at his brothers, holding up a fluffy anime plushie. He and I pulled away from each other just as the sound of Naomi's car appeared. I quickly ate my food, waved to the boys, and left, confident that nothing was going to happen. never ever say that nothing will happen before the day is over. See? Oh, it's already 30 minutes. Yep. So, I guess for now, this is it. Hopefully I'll be able to record more. Just 2 more days of finals, and I should be out and ready to just finish this game up. So, thank you so much for watching, and also thank you so much for, I think I have 96 subscribers now. But yeah, and I'm just really excited. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!